Hi guys, it's Shelly. Today we're going to look at welding in Design Space, and I am excited to do this project with you. This paper frame's been something I've been working on for a while, and we are going to learn how to use weld so you can be able to make your own paper frame. But first things first, let's go over some of the basics. So, what is welding and why do you need to use it in Design Space? To look at that, let's start with the first little section of this file that I've provided for you. Let's go ahead and ungroup that. Welding in Design Space is used to permanently combine two or more objects to sometimes get a different shape. For script text, it's used so the letters won't cut out of each other. It combines them all into one image. If you're using script text, when you type it in, it'll look something like this, and it'll be separate. So you need to use your letter spacing and decrease it until the letters are at a point where they are combined like you want them to be. You may also have to ungroup your letters and manually move them if you want them combined. Okay, so if you were to click Make It right now, all these points where these letters are connecting, when it cuts, all these little points would be cut out and all the letters would be separate pieces. And that is not something you probably want. So what you would do is select all of them again. And click Weld. Okay, now they are all one piece. Now a question I hear a lot about and ties right into this is, where is the unweld button? There is not an unweld button. So if you ever have text or a group of images that you may possibly want to edit later, a good thing to do is before welding, duplicate, and then use the little eye icon over here to hide your duplicate. That way you have a copy that you can go back to and edit later, and you don't have to start all over. Another question I hear all the time when people have welded their text is, what is this font? Or what images did I use to create this new image? Once it's welded, you can't edit your text. You can't see in your result what text you use in your layers panel like you used to be able to. And so many people will go through the whole text panel looking. You don't have to do that. Come over here to your layers panel when you have your text selected. Click to bring up this menu, your layer attributes that gives you the colors, the options to cut, write, score. You see this part right here, the See Image Information? Click that. It will tell you still that the font you used in this case is Babette. This will work also for images. Say I wanted to make a window shape out of these. I'd put them together, select them both, click Weld, and obviously, you know, for this, use a circle and a square, but if you're doing more complicated things and you are wondering what particular images you used, or maybe somebody's asking you, what images did you use to create that? You can do the same thing there as well. Image information, it'll show you used a circle and a square and gives you links to click to view those cartridges and the item numbers, so you can easily go back and find them again. Okay, so those are the basics. Weld, to combine two or more objects. You are not limited like you are with slice of only working with 2 layers. You can weld as many or as few objects as you want. I also use weld often when I have to do a lot of slicing, like this image I made to go in our frame that we're making today. When I did this, I welded together all the pieces of the pumpkin that I made, and I welded together my leaves, and then I only sliced 1 time. And then I also welded together the words and the pumpkin shape. And once again, we're going to go in here. You're looking at this file if you want to know where I got these images because you want to make changes. Everything is right there. You can see what all I used, so you can do this and create your own. But so those are the common uses of weld. It is handy when you're doing lots of slicing, because if you do lots of individual slices, it can start to slow design space down and make your files take a long time to load. So I'm going to go back and hide this again because we're not going to use this right now. I'm going to get rid of these, and I am going to show you how to create this box. Now, I have provided the basic pieces that you will need, and what took me the longest is getting just the right angles for this. So our entire frame is going to be 7.5 inches square, and you can make that any size. This is about the max that will fit on a 12 by 12 piece of paper because it's 11.5 by 11.5 when it's all put together. But if you wanted to create your own from scratch, the one thing I'm going to show you before we start working with this one that I pre-made is how to get that angled piece correct. So go over here to shapes, and you're going to bring in a triangle. There we go. Rotate that 90 degrees. So you're working with one flat edge here. And I'm going to go ahead and move this over so it's on an even edge. And like I said, our square is going to be 7.5 inches is what our frame is going to be. So what we want to do is unlock our triangle. We are going to make the height the same height that our finished piece is going to be, which is 7.5 inches. And for our width, we are going to do half of that. So we're going to do 3.75. Okay, you with me so far? This is because if we have a 7.5 inch square, if you have a triangle of this shape, when you rotate the triangles around, if you put 4 of them together, they are going to make a solid square. So this is going to give you the exact angle you need. Now the width of the frame, the 3D frame part of our frame is going to be 1/2 inch. So you want to take just the back 1/2 inch of this triangle. So at this point, you can go ahead and bring in a square. The triangle here is at the 3-inch mark. So once we get this sized large enough to slice a piece out of there, we are going to bring this to the 3.5 inch mark, because that will give us just this back 1/2 inch. So we're going to select that, select our triangle, and slice. And delete all these pieces. And so we're just left with this one. And you only need one. You can duplicate it and flip it to get all your pieces that you would need off of just this one. But that is the basics of how to do it if you wanted to create your own from scratch. And that is really the most complicated part of this design, because as you can see, everything else is all rectangles. So we don't need that piece. That's just telling you the basics of if you were going to open up a brand new project outside of this one, how you would be able to do that. Okay, so now we are going to come over here. You can go ahead and ungroup this. And I'm going to push these up out of the way. I've already placed them in the order we will need them, but I'm going to get us sitting on straight lines here. So I'm going to put this, I like to use the position boxes up here because it's just most accurate. And when you're dealing with 3D shapes, accuracy is key, because sometimes even fraction of inches off can interfere with your design. So I'm going to place this at 4, and I'm going to put this other one at 6. And you can put this about anywhere on your canvas you would like, but you want to leave a couple inches on each side for you to work. So I've got it at 4 and 6 for me. That will be the measurements I will use. So we want to put this just about in the center. We will have do that, line, and center horizontally. Okay, so the center where this piece is going to go is right at 6 inches. And we know it needs to be 6 inches here as well to meet up with the top of this piece. So you can go up here, type in 6. Whoops, I'm sorry, my mistake. It goes off the top of your shape, so we'll be at 5.5. There. Now we're all fixed up. The rest of these we don't have to center right away. We're just going to stack them all up, one on top of the other. So this one is going to come down at 5 inches. This one is going to be at 4.5. In case you can't see, there's a pattern here. Everything is 1/2 inch. And this one is going to be at 4 inches. Okay. Now we are going to select all of those, click Align, and center horizontally. And yes, I know it moved off our center mark here. That's okay. We're not doing any welding yet. Right now we are just going to group those pieces, and we are going to take this and duplicate it and come up here to flip and flip it vertically. We'll go ahead and scroll down here, and you can see we want this piece to be joining up down here, which would be 13.5 inches. We can get down there close and then use up here our positioning arrows to get exact 13.5. Okay, now we'll have that selected. Select the rectangle. Go ahead and go back up to the top and select that. Align, center horizontally. And now we can go ahead and click Weld. Okay, now we are still aligned right on a line here. We're at 4 inches over here, and we're at 4 inches up here. We are now going to insert our score lines. So come over here to Shapes, get a score line. Now what I did to get, I lost my line. There it is. What I did to get the shape of my rectangle is, we know we have 4 pieces that are going on all 4 sides that are going to fold over to make the edges of our frame. Each of those pieces is 1/2 inch wide, so that's 2 inches on each side. So what I did is just made a 7.5 inch square and added 4 inches to that to make 11.5. So our central rectangle here was 7.5 by 11.5. So with our score line, we know that needs to be 7.5 inches in height, and we are going to bring that in 1/2 inch. So this is going to be 6 inches, and this one here is going to be at 4.5 inches. Now the nice thing about putting in our score lines when we're going this way is when we duplicate this, it is automatically going to move it over another 1/2 inch. So all we have to do is bump it back up to 6 instead of 6.5. So that's 2. Go ahead and duplicate again and do the same thing. Bump it up to 6. Press enter. 3. Duplicate one more time. Once again, put that right at 6 inches. They're all perfectly evenly spaced. What you can do from this point is select all 4 score lines, hold down the shift key and click each one of them, or you can select them in your layers panel. Group them together, duplicate, and once again, same for the other side. They are going to be at 6 inches, but they are going to start at 13.5 inches over here. There we go. You can see both sides are identical. When we are done with those, now it's time to place our horizontal score lines. So, insert a score line, rotate it 90 degrees, and I know that our thinner score lines here are 6.5 inches. So you can go ahead and type that in. And basically you're going to put them in every ½ inch, just like you did the other one. So this one is going to start at 6.5, and we want it to be at 4.5 on the other axis. Okay, go ahead and duplicate that. And once again, it automatically puts it a ½ inch down, so we only have to adjust the one axis. So we're going to bring it, we're back over here this time though, because we're going the other direction. So I'm going to bring that back to 6.5. We're going to duplicate again, and now we are up to 7.5 again, so we want to increase our width. And this time move it over to 6 inches. The 6-inch mark. There we go. And we're going to duplicate it one more time and put it back over to start at the 6-inch mark. And there's your score lines for that side. So go ahead and select all of those again. Group them. Click duplicate. And we want to bring these down. Now, as you can see, bringing them down this way, they're not going to match up. So what you're going to do is flip them vertically. And you can get them in close proximity. If you have trouble sometimes remembering which axis is which, if you get them in the closest proximity, you can kind of see what to change. We want them to start on the 6-inch mark here. That is our x-axis. And 13.5. And it's actually already lined up there, but if it wasn't, all you'd have to do is type in 13.5. And at this point, what you do, I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can make sure get everything, is just go ahead and click and drag and click attach. Now, why in this case am I using attach instead of group? Group holds things together just on your canvas. When you click make it, things can go all over the place. Group just hold things together right here so you can move it around in relation to each other. Using attach will keep it together after you click make it. It'll keep things in the exact same position that you have them right here on your canvas. And the difference between attach and weld is that if you have two items on top of each other that are attached, it'll still cut those items separately. The other difference is there is a detach button. So attach is reversible where weld isn't. So that's a little bit on how to use those. But you can see now we are at the max for a 12 by 12 paper. And so what you would do is go ahead and click Make It and cut this out. But let me show you. If you want, you can do this a couple of ways, and I've included both of the different files here. And you could use these for a messy canvas, or you can use them in a project like this. Some people, I'm going to bring this to the front and bring this one to the front. Some people prefer different looks. Some people might want to do this in cardstock, which would probably be easier using this version because there's less little pieces. What I did with mine is I did this on adhesive foil with a piece of cardstock behind it and then put it in the middle of my frame. But what you can do is you can see that I made a 7-inch square. And if you want to put this on something where the color is going to be different from what's in here, just go ahead and make another square to attach it to. But what you're going to do when this is cut out, it's very, very, very simple, is you're going to simply fold these two angled sides into boxes, and you can use either double-sided tape, liquid glue, hot glue, whatever your preference is, to hold them in place on the top and bottom. And then these side pieces fold in the same way, and they will actually just slide into the slots. If you want to give them a little extra to secure them, you can use a little piece of double-sided tape or glue just to make sure they stay in there. But on the box I did, they stay in there pretty good without it too. I probably will add a small piece of tape or dab of glue later, just because with my kids things seem to be taken apart easily. But yes, all in all, it's just a very sturdy box, and with welding and basic shapes, once you have the basics of creating them figured out, they are a very quick, fun, and easy project to make. I hope to get another video put together tomorrow, and I will put together the frame and this in them so you guys can all see exactly how they are put together. But I hope you enjoyed this how-to, and I hope you have learned a little bit more about welding, as well as how it can help you to create 3D shapes. That's all for tonight, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later. Bye.